folks! Welcome back! Rudy, Timmy's Emporium, how you doing? I missed you. Did you miss me? Folks, today, we're not talking about Pokemon. No more Pikachus. Not talking about Rudy's washer dryer repair service. No memes. We're not talking about my ex. We're not going to talk about, anything important. No Magic 30! I know, you all just clicked off the video. Today's conversation is regarding the state of flesh and blood. Oh, God! Pete, here come the threats. Here come the anger. So, flesh and blood. Let's talk about going into 2023. Where are we at? What's going on? We're moving on from the drama of the Magic world and the 30 and everything. And first, we got to go over some of the pros, the cons, and where we're at. So, obviously, Flesh and Blood's announced their new little fancy schmancy outsider set, huh? Looking pretty flashy. I know a lot of you are still caught off guard from the old Command and Conquer, the old CNC at Fabled Land. That was a shock face. Let's just say a lot of shock Pikachus came around with that. So first, let's talk about some of the old stuff. First three sets of Flesh and Blood. Where are we at? What's happening? So the quantity, the market depth. How big is the iceberg? The market depth on WTR, Arc, and Crew continues to thin out. Okay, we're not seeing any tremendous uptick on sealed product on the original first edition WTR, Arc, and Crew, Rudy's favorite little era. But we've got a lot of weird behavior in the unlimited boxes. So Crew Unlimited is essentially impossible to find. Arcane Unlimited is appreciating the fastest sealed product appreciation in Flesh and Blood. Yeah. And I know, so it's like, at the rate Arc Unlimited is going, it's like 120 plus tax on TCG Player, and you couldn't even buy 30 boxes if you wanted it, because they don't even exist. Okay. So, Arc First Edition is not going up. Still pretty expensive. Probably between $1,000 and $1,500 a box-ish, I guess. But Arc Unlimited has gone from like $60, $70, $80, above the $100 MSRP, and is now $120 to $140 with shipping and taxes. So, is Arc Unlimited going to be like a $200, $300 unlimited box? And then like the First Edition and the Unlimited are going to like become the same price in a couple of years? It's weird as hell. So that's fascinating. As far as the First Edition Alpha, WTR, and the Arc First Edition and Crew First Edition, what's interesting is, when I update and check it once a week, the total number of boxes is either the same or almost always down by at least 1 to 10 boxes, which is obviously very thin, not very active, but these are very expensive. And there's simply not a lot of these. The original Flesh and Blood sets truly are a scarce original beginning. They were not, kickstarted with 100,000 boxes. The original Flesh and Blood sets in that era is a very special time, in that 2019 era. And the market's having a hard time trying to price these. Everybody keeps and of course, obviously, cases of WTR, cases of Arc, and cases of Crew always carry a larger premium because historically, collectors, investors, even people who want to crack the boxes, only want to buy cases of the original three, because a lot of stores would open a box or two, hit the cold foil legendary, and then sell the other two boxes, similar to the Weiss Schwartz market, where people would open boxes until they hit the case hit or the SP and Weiss, and sell the remainder boxes at a discount. So you'll usually see loose boxes, usually at a 20-30% discount, or sealed cases at a 30-40% premium when buying by the case. But now when we go to the next block of Flesh and Blood, God, I can't believe how many sets it's been. Isn't it crazy? Time flies. So the old Montoa Everfest, the era where most people discovered Flesh and Blood, and everybody stopped thinking, oh, Rudy's scamming, he owns the company, he's flying his private jets and his Tesla in space. I don't know, whatever, all the internet, the craziness that happened, and all the conspiracy theories. The Monarch Tales Everfest was the era that everybody, quote-unquote, discovered the game, gave real attention to the game, and it hit a lot of news and mainstream stuff in the CCG world. Obviously, that was also the block of era where print runs went up the most, because it was a 2021 boom. As with the print runs of everything from 2021, everything went up substantially into that bubble of 2021. Obviously, we're not seeing any upticks in Montoa Everfest, but at least I can say and report to you all in this little news cycle from the basement that we're not seeing any downticks. Monarch First Edition was pretty boring and flat between $80 and $100 a box with shipping and taxes. It just bounces around a couple dollars and that's it. Tails, I'm very surprised. I always thought Tails was a better set than Monarch, but it just kind of it's like the set that everyone forgot. Anybody remember, Tome of Harvest, Mark Poole, and the artwork and everything? I don't know. It just seemed like the set that everybody just kind of. Anyways, and then Everfest was this really big, it was supposed to be the next Crucible set, the next supplemental. Everybody's very excited, a little mini set kind of thing. And simply put, the only reason Everfest is not more expensive is because of supply and demand, weaker economy, lower player base stores, collectors, investors within the U.S. I heard international is different. And of course, the supply metric versus the amount of people in the U.S. is skewed, causing a reduction in price point. And of course, a lot of people still, I don't want to use the word fearing, but a lot of comments and concerns on the secondary market regarding the infamous Everfest Unlimited. Is that ever going to come to market? There's no first for Unlimited anymore. But, is it already printed? Is it sitting somewhere? There's always that weird swirl of news and rumors. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's been a while. Maybe they're holding it for a couple of years from now to see if it, ever needs the product. But obviously, that is the weakest one with probably, most likely the highest print run out of Montoa as it kind of ramped and did that kind of nice curve into 2021. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't have that information. It's going to be up to the company to really either discuss it or wait to see what happens, which is probably what they're doing. But now, then we get to the Flesh and Blood 2.0, which is the 2022 post-craziness bubble of 2021, where all the free attendees and the flippers and most stores dropped, everyone's gone, flushed out. And we're in a more rebuilding, kind of stabilized marketplace. Now, this has been a lot more interesting than everybody thought. A lot of people and evil investors and collectors were just like, well, okay, there's one box and, you got some cool Marvels and full arts and cold foils and rainbows. Everything's mixed together. You can get a Fable of both variants and we'll see what happens. And I don't think people really put a ton of, I don't want to say effort or time into it, but people aren't viewing it as a speculative asset or a speculative item. I think that is still kind of flushed out. I don't see any of that attitude. I don't see any of that behavior coming back anytime soon. I simply just don't think it's going to happen in the near term, as in maybe in 3, 5, 8 years from now, that's different when everybody's going back looking for really old stuff. But right now, I'm just not seeing that in the US at least. So the most interesting thing to me was Dynasty that came out a couple months ago. I've never seen so many people and stores wanting to do mass box openings and actually not sell the sealed boxes of Dynasty, but just sell the single cards. I haven't seen that in a really long time. It reminds me of almost Magic in the mid-2000s, early 2010s. Gatecrash, RTR, Kanza Tarkir, Kaladesh era, where the mass box openings and stores would order hundreds of boxes just to crack, fill their display cases for local business, and to sell single cards online. That was a big thing. And I don't think anyone's dumb enough to do a mass box opening in Magic in 2022. I don't think that's a thing. So that leaves us with, what does that mean with the new Flesh and Blood Outsiders, and what's where are we going to go with the rumors of instead of PvP, player versus environment and all this? So where does that leave things? Where are we on the verge of being able to really move forward and have a new wave of expansion with Flesh and Blood with people who stuck with it? Is it just going to continue to be kind of stable and kind of just chug along at a normal, slower, more sustainable, realistic print runs and growth rates? These are all things that the market's waiting to find out. And as of right now, at least from my perspective, it does appear that, the company's nailing it and it's getting right. I am not seeing anything in this ecosystem collapsing. Then, of course, people argue, of course, Rudy, because everything already collapsed and now it's stable. They're going to throw the typical dude darts and negativity and slap me with Chuck Norris's X, and I know. But overall, it looks stable and healthy. And that's really important coming from a boom and bust bubble of 2021. And it feels like they've gotten the print run and supply side of things under control. The Magic approach. Here's your release wave. We'll see if the market needs more. All right, it's been 6 months. All right, well, maybe if you guys need a little bit more, we'll restock. It seems like they've got it under control. And it does feel like, even though I do miss the first edition Unlimited kind of concept, segregation of two categories, it does feel like this version is working. Similar to Pokemon at the very beginning when they had first edition and Unlimited. And then eventually they just made a single version of Pokemon booster boxes. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Did the same thing years ago. A lot of card games went that path. I think even Force of Will had first edition stamps on the Force of Will packs and boxes and the single cards about 4 or 5 years ago when Force of Will became very big from 2015 to 2018 when it boomed. And I just really, I know we haven't covered it a lot because it's just the drama and the news of Magic 30 and Pokemon just acting like the king. But it's just been a really interesting thing that I need to cover more because a lot of stores, a lot of patrons, a lot of customers, a lot of YouTube channels like, Rudy, are you following Flesh and Blood? Are you seeing the unlimited prices of Arcane Rising? Are you seeing unlimited boxes accrue? Are you looking at the single cards of Dynasty or Uprising? Literally, the average person can buy a case, open it, and not lose their ass. Can't say that for Magic. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And I'm trying to catch up. I feel like I've been disconnected in a bubble for 2 months. But it's been a really intriguing ride. And yes, of course, with the new Flesh and Blood set coming within, it's still a while, coming within 90 days, yes, we're going to do our normal, patron thing where I offer a case of sealed boxes and you'll get a promo item and a promo exclusive card exclusive. We'll do our normal thing. And I know everybody looks for it. It's like I get messages literally right after Uprising comes out. The people get the product. And like a play group or a family's like, Rudy, when's Dynasty? When's the promo kit? I was like, dude, Uprising just came out. Like literally, people got their Dynasty kits. And 4 weeks ago, people were like, Rudy, when's the next Flesh and Blood set when we doing the promo? When's the next one? When's the next? The excitement and enjoyment of how people are viewing it is really healthy. People are happy. I mean, it's a different type of happiness. It's a different type of customer base. These aren't speculators just trying to flip and get in and out and do giggities. And none of that's really... I mean, there's people who are selling singles. There's activity. Go on TCG Player. Seriously. Go on TCG Player. Look at Dynasty. Look at the cards. Sort by most expensive. You don't have to look at the boxes or cases. But just look at all the chase cards. Look at the variants. What are these, $85, $90 booster boxes? And look at all the things in categories, in variants. And there's not a lot of variants like Magic. It's not like you get 10 versions of each. But it's amazing. But it's working. And that deserves a discussion and a report to you all that, it looks like it's going to make it long term using the Fab 2.0 business model that a lot of people were skeptical with. Obviously, the black eye era of boom and bust, specifically of Monarch, a lot of people who hate Flesh and Blood, hate me, or hate any YouTuber who talks about it or sells it or carries it, all they're going to point to is the, Monarch situation. And I can take Magic, and I can just point to Dragon's Maze, or I can point to Baldur's Gate and say, Rudy sold Baldur's Gate, see? We can take anything and handpick and build a context and kind of build a narrative with it, but I don't think that represents the entire brand or the game. Flesh and Blood has the original block of 3 sets, the second block of 3 sets, and now we got 2 sets in Fab 2.0. That's 8 main sets, not including unlimited editions, not including what? You want to talk about dual decks or the little blitz decks and supplemental products? They've released 8 sets since 2019. First started talking about Flesh and Blood in 2018. Well, it went to market in 2019. But from 2019 to almost 2023, they've released 8 fucking sets. 8 sets, folks. And so what? You just want to hand pick and say, well, look at Monarch, it dropped. It's all dead. Told you no one played the game. At this point, in 2023, is that still a thing? Or is people still taking out of context and pushing that anger, raw, maybe they are. But in reality, you take out... you kind of remove that kind of dirty mark and that black eye, and everything looks good. It's a really cool thing to be a part of from my point of view, and to see how many people are really enjoying the game, and the feedback on Uprising and Dynasty has just been incredible. It's been absolutely the positivity and the lack of just straight anger like we saw a year or 2 years ago, especially at the beginning. It was really... Flesh and Blood went through some of the weirdest things I'd ever seen in my life. When even 10, 20, 30 years from now, when I'm an old fart and I don't have any hair and my face is upside down and all that stuff, I'm still going to always look back at the first 18 months of Flesh and Blood, when literally I received these daily attacks and hates and cursing and threats about how it was a fake game, and the company wasn't real, and Rudy owned it, and like nobody was playing it, and it was a really weird thing. In my entire life of dealing with CCGs, even when I was a kid and I was dealing in just Marvel cards, and all my friends had sports cards, and Fleer and Flare, and the video games of NES and SNES and Sega and Game Boy and Game Gear, I'd never seen a card game come out. In the first 18 months, so many people had all these conspiracy theories. That will go down in history as the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen. So moving, as we march into 2023, everybody, Flesh and Blood's in a great place. I'm very excited for the next set. I know, the number one comment I get is, Rudy, do some damn box openings! Do more fab content! I know. And, I've got a group of people on this channel that are diehard fab people. I got a group of people that are just diehard Pokemon people. Rudy, do more Pokemon! I got diehard fans and patrons that are like, Rudy, do more Weiss videos and Weiss openings. I got a diehard group of probably 10-20% of the patrons. Got to be at least 500 to 1,000 diehard MetaZoo fans. They get literally like, Rudy, please, I'll send you a box of Kickstarter. I'll send you any MetaZoo. We just talk about what's going on, or this news, or this new thing, or the MetaZoo anime, or, it's the same thing. Everybody likes different things. And that's okay. We do the best we can to cover. I'm just, I'm one creepy guy in a basement. I've only got so much hair left, folks. But I do the best I can to cover these pros and cons of everything. And we're going to do another video here pretty soon. We need to talk about what's going on with Weiss, Force of Will, and MetaZoo. We need to kind of talk about some other things. But I really wanted to go through this Flesh and Blood 2.0, what's happening with Flesh and Blood, because I just feel like it's not getting enough kind of mainstream attention and discussion. But if you never played it, I don't think you should go out and spend $3,000 on an alpha box, or $5,000 or $15,000 for a case of alpha. I don't think you should do that. You never played Flesh and Blood before? Seriously, I honestly, I would probably, what would I tell people? Yeah, I'd probably say WTR Unlimited. It's cheap. I'd buy a case of WTR Unlimited. They're like 60, 70 bucks a box. Whole case is what? Maybe 250, 300. I would tell you to probably get some Blitz decks. Try the dual deck. Dorinthia dual deck. And I would get the feel for it. The way the turns, kind of just each segment, kind of the process and phases of a turn, of how, because it's very weird. It's got that, I'm not going to turn into a how to play video, but the way you draw at the end of the turn versus the beginning, and the arsenal at the end, the way the combat chain works and the interactions versus the attack, defense, response, and of course the reaction cards and everything. I think there's a bit of a learning curve from the Magic world, but it becomes a little intuitive the more you play. I'd love to play more of that. The last time I really got to play Flesh and Blood was a couple of the people in Orlando, and then of course in New Jersey. But then again, I haven't played Magic. I don't get to play anything anymore. I just work. So, a lot of times I just like to watch other people. Anyways, folks, hope you learned something. And yes, in conclusion, folks, I am hoping to be able to sell some more Dynasty pretty soon. I am also hoping to run another Flesh and Blood sale for, we'll have a nice, exciting promo thing for the new set coming in a couple months. And honored to be a part of it. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you've never played Flesh and Blood, seriously, I really, try it out. Borrow it, get something cheap. Don't spend much money on it. Just try it. Seriously, it's a really unique, well-built, balanced game. And I think it will stand the test of time. I have absolutely zero reason to think Flesh and Blood is going to go anywhere at this point. We're approaching, what, set 9? Set 9 and 10 and 11 in 2023? Oh, yeah. Stand the test of time, my friends. Beautiful day! Beautiful day.